Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream, welcome to Arsenal news, transfer updates, discussions, opinions, all that good stuff. And today we have quite weird schedule because obviously there are Arsenal transfers we need to talk about. Obviously some players have come in like Calafiori, Emile, Rowe. We talked about it yesterday. We're going to talk about it just a tiny bit today as well. There's also Mikel Merino talks that are still persistent, which is very all over the place, by the way. The Mikel Merino talks are very all over the place, which really pissed me off today, to be honest. I've never seen such disparity of reports, because I generally read about 6-7 articles, and every single article almost said a different thing. And between all the journalists and ITKs and all that stuff, it's a complete whole mess, I'm not gonna lie. In the meantime, also Granit Xhaka takes potential dig at Arsenal, depends how you interpret it and everything. And of course, Mikel Arteta has got an interview before the Liverpool game, which we play on Thursday morning. For me, it's 2:30 a.m. on Thursday, which is not great, and obviously I won't watch it because it's a work day, so it is what it is, of course. But it's Tuesday. Hope everyone has had a great day. Hope everyone's doing fantastically well. Everyone enjoyed your day. Hope work or whatever, your internships or whatever hasn't kind of suffocated and made you too exhausted. You got time to relax. But yeah, today we are talking about Arsenal. Let's get straight into it, to be honest, because there is no need to drag this any longer than it has to be. And we will be kicking things off with Mikel Arteta's interview. We're going to straight off the bat start with Mikel Arteta's interview, where he talks about Calafiori, about Liverpool game, and other stuff like that. Would be nice if it worked, actually. Hello, Vancouver, Canada. Here we go. Here we are. Mikel Arteta, everywhere from Mikel's pre-Liverpool press conference before the Liverpool game. Let's see what he has had to say, what he waffled about as he usually does, and whether he got asked any proper questions about transfers and stuff like that, because that is at the moment still the most important thing, because we are legitimately 17 days away from Premier League kicking off, 18 days away from Arsenal playing the first game in Premier League, and we have signed only Calafiori. There is a bit more than 2 weeks still left in the transfer window, and I genuinely have hopes that in these a bit more weeks we still sign a midfielder and we of course sign a striker. Those are my two hopes. Hopefully it actually hopefully it happens. It all remains to be seen. But let's go into it. Let's dig straight in. Let's see what Mikel Arteta had to say. Obviously, the game is going to be played in Philadelphia, in Union Subaru Park. And here it is. After he trained on Monday, Mikel Arteta held a pre-match press conference ahead of our game against Liverpool. So let's see what he had to say. Having announced the signing of Riccardo Calafiori hours before, the Italian defender's capture grabbed most of the limelight, but the boss also discussed the meeting with the Reds and his views on their new manager Arne Slot. Here's what everything Mikel had to say. And we are kicking things off straight up on getting Calafiori signed. I'm very happy. It took a while. It genuinely took a while. It took a month. So it, in my opinion, was way too long than it had to be. But hey ho, here we are at the end of the day. We will still moving on. And we sign a player now. We need to go into hyper speed, in my opinion. There is, as I said, 18 days till Premier League kicks off for Arsenal, and we need two signings. We need a midfielder, we need a striker, in my opinion. So there's still a lots of work to do, so I really hope Arsenal are on it. It was a player that we have monitored for a year. They had monitored Calafiori for a year. Mad. We were really short in the back line last year in terms of numbers, and we demanded so much from them. To be honest, it's true. Saliba was the first player in Arsenal's history to play every single game from bell to bell. The partnership with Gabriel was generally indestructible pretty much, but every single player legitimately played about 50 to 60 games. Every single defender more or less, except left back position, because that rotates, I don't know, as socks basically. But otherwise, rest of them three pretty much stayed together throughout the whole season. And we need rotation. Obviously, Timber's injury played a massive role in that rotation. But this time we have Timber, we have Calafiori. Of course, we have the usual suspects in the defense, but still we have Kivior, who I don't know what's going to happen with him, because there were links of him moving away, but at the moment they have kind of quieted down a bit. And of course there is still Zinchenko, which I generally hope we sell this transfer window. However, since the Bayern links, we haven't heard a peep about him potentially being sold. So that leads me to potentially believe that actually he might stay at Arsenal. Whether he will be utilized as a left back or number 8 remains to be seen. Because with the Calafiori coming in, surely we are too stacked in that left back position and somebody has to give. And not to mention Kieran Tierney as well. So it's definitely a very big position that needs to be sorted out in my opinion. We have 5 players for that position and that is way too much. On whether he will play at left back or center back, both positions, especially the way we want to play and the way we want to evolve in our game models, he's a player who is going to fit into what we want. So basically pretty much he's gonna be a left back. Let's be real, if Mikel Arteta disrupts the duo partnership of Gabriel and Saliba, that could actually have some major damaging consequences. Because at the moment, that is the best center-back partnership in Premier League. You could argue that's one of the best partnerships in the world at the moment. Yes, they haven't won anything, but the solidity and calmness and everything they bring, they complement each other quite perfectly, and it is very, very good. You could argue also on certain instances, Gabriel is a bit better than Saliba as well, obviously. Each of them have their strengths, each of them have their weaknesses, but they kind of fit like hand to glove together. So really hope this obviously long term doesn't mean that one of them is moving on. Because signing Calafiori, signing these defenders on such a massive amount is a bit of 50-50 one, because Real Madrid are a bit sniffing around around the Saliba, and last season, the beginning of the season, the Gabriel rumors also didn't kind of bring in confidence, let's just say that. So that will be a massive question mark for me. What's gonna happen with those? Will they go away or what? Because if we don't win anything this season, there is a massive argument to be made that we could lose some of our best players, because how long they will play at Arsenal without winning anything? Because if you have a chance, let's just say you're Saliba and go to Real Madrid, why wouldn't you do it? Because Real Madrid is guaranteed legacy. At Arsenal, if you cannot win, there's a chance you will have to take that option. So it is what it is, but on our transfer business so far, what he had to say, I'm very happy that we got Calafiori. As I said, it was very important to have the protection in the backline because of the issues we had, especially last year with Jurrien Timber was injured. It increases the quality and the competition, and it's very good for the team. Obviously, wish we had this competition and quality in all the positions, not just defense or not just one position, but we need that for Saka, we need that for number 9 spot, we need that for midfield as well, because there genuinely in the team are some guarantees that are undroppable, and they definitely should be dropped at times given how they play on occasion in games. When they're invisible, they're having stinkers, they should be held accountable in some way, and maybe subbing them off would be the case, or not starting a certain game. But due to lack of depth in our team, we cannot actually exploit this option, so it is what it is. On our game against Liverpool, it's another great test. We are in a different city, there's jet lag, and we have to adapt to that. It's a different pitch, different stadium, and weather conditions, it's all great. So basically everything that every single team experiences on every given time when they play in MLS, let's just say. For us, it's a bit different, obviously. It's all great, and we are against a team with a new manager that I really like, especially the way he plays. It is going to be really tough and will be a good test as well. It will be very interesting what kind of 11 Arteta puts out in this game, to be honest, because some first team players joined, obviously, in Gabriel, Martinelli actually hit the ground running instantly against United, so it will be interesting whether will he start or not. Havertz came back, whether he will start or not, and what will happen with youngsters, because Wanjeri has been arguably the player of the preseason so far, if that is any indication, or you can judge a player like that. He was quite great against Bournemouth, quite great against United, so I don't see a reason why he wouldn't start the game against Liverpool as well. Not to mention the fact that Arteta apparently has promised Wanjeri some very important minutes, so it will be very interesting to see how that goes. On Arne Slot, I don't know him personally, but I watched him with his past team. First of all, I like him a lot as a person, the way he comes across. So if you don't know him personally, how can you like him as a person? Just based on interviews or what? Because to know him personally, you need to know him as a person. At least that's how I look at a person. I need to know him personally, I need to meet him, talk to him to know him personally, but hey ho. I've heard very good things from players who are probably the best ones to ask, and I'm really impressed with the way he sets out his teams and the clarity on the quality that they show. It's going to be a really good game. Sadly I won't be able to watch it. On Emile Smith-Rowe potentially departing, I cannot talk about things that I haven't been done yet. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Emile Smith-Rowe, who is pretty much a Fulham player at the moment as we are live right here, because this interview was before that, so definitely we're gonna talk about Emile Smith-Rowe in a second. On whether he manages to see the cities he visits on tour. Kind of a pointless question, I'm not gonna lie, during preseason, because you should be asking questions about players, signings, conditioning, how they're gonna set up for the season and stuff like that, how's the microclimate in the team and everything. It kind of is a pointless question because it doesn't relate properly to football. Obviously, having a vacation and maybe having a time to relax, to herself, to gather the thoughts is very important. Obviously, when you get to see cities, it's actually quite important in that instance as well, to reset your mind. Like that. When we have the chance, we love to do the things that come to culture and learn from the city, but we arrived here last night and we haven't really had time. I think this afternoon we'll try to do something about it, so hopefully yes. On what positions he wants to strengthen next? Now this is a question I want to see. This is a question I want to see, because in my opinion Arsenal still need to sign a number 9, backup for Bukayo Saka, and 2 midfielders. So that's 4 players. And if Ramsdale leaves, there's a goalkeeper, but we're gonna cross that road when it comes, if it comes. So in my opinion, we need still 4. At worst, we need to sign 3. Either we sign a striker and put Jesus as a backup for Bukayo Saka, and then we sign 2 midfielders, or something in that sphere, basically. But here we are. We will have to wait and see the movements in the market. Wait for what? Because according to reports, which we're going to talk about in a second, Merino is waiting, Gyökeres is waiting. We don't have to wait on the movements and on the market. The market is waiting on us at the moment. It's weird. It's hella weird, this sentence. We already identified things that we can improve. We have meetings every March or April, and if we can, we will try to strengthen the team. I believe we can get better, but so far I'm really happy with what we have. Well, politician answers OP. Why he felt the need for another defender? It was the numbers. We had only 6 defenders in the back line at this level, and you have to be really, really, really lucky to sustain the season like this. Yeah, we avoided injuries like I don't know what. Pretty much nobody got injured in our team last season, and if we don't increase the depth in our team for this season, we will get injured sooner or later, some of our players. And if we don't have substitutions, rotation for that, we will be screwed. Because last season, none of our main guys got injured. Martinelli got injured here or there. Partey doesn't count. He's injured pretty much every single season except for 1. Tomiyasu got injured, so he's injured most of the time. And Zinchenko as well, he's more injury prone than Tierney. So usual players got injured, and that's about it. So we didn't get the injuries to Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, Odegaard, Saka, none of our main guys. So yeah, we need to strengthen while we have the chance. We were, because William, for example, and Gabriel nearly played every minute, and that's the thing. We played more than 50% more minutes than the previous season, and we were able to do that consistently over the next 3 or 4 years. That's a big question mark. That's the thing. We will run out, genuinely run out of fitness, stamina, energy, and sooner or later a bone, a muscle, something, a ligament will give up on someone. Obviously, you cannot just bet on that, but that's a big bet. We don't want to take that bet. And it's obvious. And was it easy to persuade Calafiori to join? Spoke to him 1 or 2 times, and I knew the other things, teams being interested. I wasn't really sure if we could do it or not, but he was adamant. Let me know when you are ready. My bags are ready, and I just want to come to Arsenal. So basically, on gentleman's word, we dragged this out for a month, and at the end we got lucky and still got him because nobody wanted to pay the money. Those were his words, and when you have that feeling, someone with that willingness to join us and make us better, and that determination, it's something really powerful, and as a club, we should really be proud of that. And to be honest, as much as I hate this PR nonsense that is going here, Arteta said he wants to only sign players that only want Arsenal. And in this instance, it makes a lot of sense, to be honest. He wants Arsenal, Arsenal signed him. If a player just goes here like Vlahovic did that and some other players, yes, I could go there, but there's another option which I technically like better, and they start to reconsider. We don't want that. Basically, Arteta wants players that are fully 100% committed to the club. On the supporters in America compared to the UK, it's been great. It's been different because the different lift, culture, and all that stuff. Okay, we move on. On having Calafiori out there in the US with us, no idea if he's gonna play. On whether he feels he'll have his whole squad for the opening game of the season. Now that's important. That's a proper question. I'm very confident. They want to be a part of it as quickly as possible, and they are preparing to be ready when they come, not just preparing when they come back at the end of this week. Now, will Calafiori play on Wednesday against, Thursday for us, by the looks of things. Will play against Liverpool? I don't know. He had a long flight yesterday and medical over the past 24 hours. He might get subbed on for about 10-15 minutes, just to show him off for the fans. I think that will be the case with Calafiori. Now, this is the thing. Whether he will have his whole squad for the opening game of the preseason, that is the big question. And to be honest, it's a nice segue in the fact that it got reported today that David Raya, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, and Ramsdale, basically every single player that got to the final stages of Euros, that got to the final, will return to Arsenal at the end of this week. It's been confirmed by Mikel Arteta, which basically means the team will fly back from US and the players will join and they will begin preparations together for Emirates Cup, where we play against Bayer Leverkusen and when we play against Lyon. Big question is, as it Richie says here, what about Saliba? Saliba wasn't mentioned, and that's the big thing. But I assume Saliba will definitely join us as well. Aaron Ramsdale, he's been quite a person to talk about overall, because since the beginning of the transfer window, when Newcastle valued him around 15 million, we haven't heard a peep about him on potential going out. So he was basically staying here, he was now relaxing on everything, he wasn't even joining a team. But yesterday we heard rumors that Nottingham Forest would be potentially willing to take him on loan. Buying him wasn't an option at the time. So today, according to Court Offside, Arsenal have lowered the asking price for Aaron Ramsdale to 30 million. Obviously before that it was 50 and nobody was paying that. Ramsdale's also on 120,000 a week, which obviously probably would be also quite a bit. But Arsenal have decreased his value by 40%, which is not great, I'm not gonna lie, because the previous value was 50, 40% less is 30. Now 20 million less. Now the question is, will we be able to sell him? Because 30 million more or less is the same amount we signed him for. And that is the big issue for me here. We're gonna barely break even at best. 2 Premier League clubs are interested. According to reports, Arsenal already have a replacement in mind and have held talks, which means Arsenal are prepared for a scenario where Ramsdale gets sold, which is nice to see. Always be prepared. That should be the thing. The question is, who are these 2 Premier League teams? And will they be able to buy him? Because that is the big thing. 30 million, 120 grand a week. If he changes club, most likely he would be around 100, on the same pretty much, 120 grand a week to the club he goes to. I don't know who are the teams though. That is the big thing. If it's like Crystal Palace, it's not the worst. If it's someone low, like Southampton, it was reported, it's kind of a yikes. So it is what it is. But Ramsdale is a bit heating up by the looks of things. He might move, might not, depends to be seen. So it all remains on that. But 30 million is a bit of a less, because that's the one thing that really pisses me off. Because last summer we signed Raya, and it was pretty much instantly understandable that Raya will become our number one. He will become our number one. So that will be the big thing. So what at the time when we signed Roy, Ramsdale's value was at his highest. And he had played every single game. So at the end of that, it actually means that we could have sold him then, because we could have dealt without Ramsdale pretty much the whole season. Obviously, he played 6 or something or 8 games. We could have used someone else there, obviously, or even Heine, to be honest, because he didn't do much in those games. He actually lost, I think, half of them. So we could have sold him then and then gotten proper money for him. Now that Arsenal have shown their cards, they haven't played him, the value instantly has pretty much tanked, which is not great, I'm not gonna lie. What has Granit Xhaka said about Arsenal? We're gonna get to that in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes or something like that. We're gonna get to it in a second. We're gonna talk about few players and then we're gonna get into that. According to Purple Panel, Arsenal are set to begin negotiations with Real Sociedad for Mikel Merino after the player showed interest in the proposed project and reached a preliminary agreement on personal terms. So Arsenal are definitely, it's pretty much Arsenal are moving like it was reported. Arsenal are about to sign a midfielder if they sell a midfielder. So Emile Smith-Rowe is going out and they are ready to sign another midfielder. According to other reports, which I'm not too excited about because I wouldn't want Sane personally at Arsenal, even though he cooked us at Bayern when we played in Champions League and everything. I'm not sure it would be the best move. He would demand massive amount of wages, and for that amount, for a bench player who rotates, it's not the greatest thing, to be honest. Yes, we could start him at left, but that means Martinelli drops off. We don't have a place where we can put him in that instance, where we can put him in to play consistently so he doesn't get displeased with his role. And Arsenal are keeping an eye on Bayern Munich Leroy Sané. As per reports, Arteta could be building a monster of a squad. This PR needs to go. That's total bullshit, and we move on. According to reports about Emile Smith-Rowe, this is the big one. This is the midfielder that's going out. 34 million. So that is 27 plus 7. So that is the big one here. Emile Smith-Rowe's medical at Fulham is booked for within the next 24 hours. So basically today or early tomorrow morning. He's already in the UK after leaving Arsenal store ahead of the move. So basically this deal is progressing and moving on very, very quickly according to reports. Let's see. Emile Smith-Rowe will undergo medicals in Fulham again in the next 24 hours. Then Fulham plan to fly him to Portugal to join the squad on the preseason campaign, where he could make his debut as early as Friday. So basically Fulham want Emile Smith-Rowe. They're gonna do medicals today or early tomorrow, then fly him to Portugal, and maybe even on Friday when they have a preseason game, instantly put him into the team. So they try to wrap the things up very quickly because let's be real, Fulham play on Friday against Manchester United as a season opener, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it is in that instance. Yeah, see? Here it is. Fulham play United on 16th of August. So they want to get the Emile Smith-Rowe Emile Smith-Rowe in as quickly as possible so he can get accustomed to the team. Marco Silva can integrate into his tactics, because I genuinely believe there's a big chance he actually might start the game against Manchester United. Genuinely believe there might be a big chance of that happening. Mikel Merino, more Mikel Merino, talks in progress. The midfielder has given his availability to join Arsenal with contract until 2028, so 4 years. That's actually not a bad deal. With a talk the next days with the Spanish club, tried to reach an agreement. So Arsenal are trying to, based on this, wrapped up by this week, which actually makes sense. I think Arsenal want to sign Mikel Merino and make him join Arsenal before the Emirates Cup. Generally before the Emirates Cup. I think that would be the ideal scenario how Arsenal are seeing signing Mikel Merino. The question is, can they move that quickly to make the deal happen? That is the thing, given how we usually perform in transfer window. Here's some more news about another player potentially going out, and in this instance we are talking about Reiss Nelson, and this is very awkward because I just realized that it's not working. Here it is. Reiss Nelson, potentially. West Ham United have reportedly tabled a 15 million bid for Arsenal forward Reiss Nelson, but face competition from newly promoted Leicester City, according to the Mirror. Julian Lopetegui and Tim Steidten are eager to strengthen West Ham's left-wing position this summer, following the departures of Said Benrahma and Pablo Fornals in the January transfer window. To be honest, yeah, West Ham are quite short in the winger department because they have Kudus, they have Bowen, and that's pretty much it if you, to be honest, look at it objectively, because nobody still knows what's going to happen with Paqueta and everything, so that is very, very interesting. They forced David Moyes to play Mohamed Kudus or Paqueta in that role. Yeah, this was forced by that. Lopetegui wants to bring in a more natural left-sided attacker, and Reiss Nelson could be the solution. Left-sided, he plays right predominantly at Arsenal, although he shifts around at times. According to reports, a 15 million bid has been submitted by the Hammers. However, this is unlikely to meet Arsenal's valuation, as they have reportedly set a 25 million price tag for the guy. The question is, 25 million for Reiss Nelson. Fair or too much? Because now I need your help in this. Because for me, he's a similar boat as Edu Arteta, more or less. He plays very sporadically. He has scored here or there. He has had some decent performances. And he has had a massive amount of stinkers. And similar like Edu Arteta, he has played very sporadically. He has had goals here or there. He scored some important goals just like Reiss Nelson. But many times he has had an absolute stinker. So 25 million is quite interesting amount, given that we are asking for 40 million for Edu Arteta, which still seems a very insane amount, and we should kind of lower it, in my opinion. But it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen with that. For 15 million for Reiss Nelson. Would you take that deal? 15 million for Reiss Nelson. Yes or no? Let me know that down in the chat, in comments below, if you're watching this as a playback or watching this as a podcast or whatever you are doing with this a bit later on. According to Jim James, and this is the thing that pissed me off, because one says Arsenal are open to talks with Merino. Others says that Arsenal have agreed terms and are starting to open talks potentially with Real Sociedad, with the deal being wrapped up by the end of the week. And now here are reports saying that Merino to Arsenal is all but done. Personal terms and fee agreed. So guess who you can believe? A random journal number 2, or a random ITK basically. The sale of ESR to Fulham will see the narrative change and acceleration in the media. That is the thing. That was the belief, reports, and basically how it should be going. Emile Smith-Rowe goes out, and pretty instantly Arsenal go in for Mikel Merino. That has been said for about a week and a half now. So that should be true, and that should speed up the deal. But the fact that there have been about 4 or 5 reports on Mikel Merino, and every single report says completely different thing, really pisses me off. Because everyone that says this is not a journalist, it's just a random rumor that they generally think on the spot, it feels like. Because one says Arsenal is gonna open talks with Merino, one says Arsenal have agreed personal terms with Merino and they're gonna talk with the club. Here is the third one that is saying that everything has been agreed. Go and figure which one is the truth. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Most likely the proposal for Merino, he likes the offer and he likes the personal terms, and Arsenal are just concretely kind of cementing the personal terms and then gonna go then to talk to Real Sociedad, because the truth has to be somewhere in the middle. And here it is. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Fulham and Arsenal have all documents in place, set to be signed after a medical of Emile Smith-Rowe. So basically everything pretty much is fully done and dusted. Medical scheduled for either late this evening and the deal will be announced later tonight, or the medicals are gonna happen tomorrow and the deal is gonna most likely be announced tomorrow, because Fulham want Emile Smith-Rowe in Portugal as soon as possible, integrating him into the squad and potentially even play the game. On Friday they have the friendly in Portugal as well. And here it is. Now we get news from Real Sociedad president, and you can see how this goes around, by the way. Real Sociedad president now is talking on Merino. Merino has had an offer to renew for over a year, and if he is not renewed yet, it's because he does not want to mislead the La Real fans, which speaks well of him. You could say that. I'd like him not to leave, we all would, but if he tells me he accepts our offer on the table and wants us to negotiate, we will. We know he has some and what they are. We know he has some and what they are. We will hope Mikel will stay, but if not, we'll negotiate the best outcome for La Real. Which again means that Arsenal might be in a massive talks to sign Merino, and they're gonna haggle over 5 million. Because every single time when you hear the best outcome for Real Sociedad, La Real or the specific club, it means they have some sort of amount in mind. Arsenal are known to undercut it in the first bid massively, it gets rejected and Arsenal go in for the second bid, then they discuss, maybe there are some add-ons, and if it meets the club's demands, then it's all good. But Arsenal tend to haggle over a few million here or there. On many occasions, it's not just about Calafiori or Declan Rice or any other deal we have on, or those two deals. We have done it before, and most likely we're gonna keep doing it again. Does it fall on Edu, on Garlic, or Lewis, or whoever? Remains to be seen. But this is the biggest disgrace in this, because we drag this very out long and piss off the clubs. No idea why I like that. Here it is. Aaron Ramsdale. Arsenal have said 30 million asking price. They have lowered it from 50 million. That has been more or less confirmed. As things stand, it is understood that although Nottingham Forest and Southampton are interested, they would not be willing to pay 30 million. It remains to see if Arsenal will end up lowering their demands. And to be honest, I don't see Arsenal lowering their demand for Ramsdale. I think 30 million is the lowest bottom of the barrel they could actually go and ask for him. That is my opinion. Because as soon as you drop it below that, it's not a good deal. It's not even a serious deal. Even though he hasn't played that much. He hasn't played pretty much at all last season. He was, although season ago he was one of the best goalkeepers in the world, one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, you can argue, because you can see last summer his value was at 40, now he's being valued or more or less around 25 to 30 million euros. So Arsenal have dropped the price. Arsenal signed him for about 24 to 25 million pounds, which means if Arsenal actually want to get 30 million, they will more or less break even on Ramsdale. They don't even make a proper profit. They might make for PSR books and everything, but overall, if you start to include the wages we paid and everything, we will break even more or less on him only. And that is the thing. That's why they have dropped the price, I think. Because they have realized nobody's gonna pay the 50 million. Nobody's gonna pay the 50 million. It's kind of unrealistic in my opinion. Even though if you asked 50 million last summer, when we signed Rai on loan, I actually believe that that deal would have been realistic. More realistic and more potential the deal had to become real. Let's just say that. Now if asking 50 million was insanity, and Arsenal probably have realized that. And now they need to scrap the things they can, basically. Arsenal are doing panic buying. They have done it before in transfer market, and they are a bit now doing a panic sell, because they're lowering the prices on certain players they knew they cannot get X amount of money for anymore. And that is the big thing. Because they could have gotten 50 million last year, now they kept the 50 million until August pretty much, mind you, and now they've realized that nobody's gonna sign him, nobody's gonna buy him for 50 million, and instantly bang, they dropped the price by 40%, from 50 to 30 million, and we go from there. Let's see what's gonna happen now. Will there be a bid coming in, or will there be a loan? Because the way Ramsdale has been talked about in this transfer market, I don't see anyone signing him. That is the big thing, and I don't see actually a proper suitor for him as well, mind you, because every single club has a solid number one goalkeeper. More or less, unless, I don't know, randomly Fulham or randomly Crystal Palace or someone like that don't want to sign him. A team that can afford to pay that. Because otherwise, every single team has one. Even Chelsea just signed Jorgensen from Villarreal. So they have goalkeeper covered. It was rumored that Chelsea could go in for Aaron Ramsdale at the beginning of the window, and that fell flat, and now they signed Jorgensen, and they're not going for Ramsdale. Interesting why, though. That actually is very weird and very interesting. But overall, yeah, I don't see him suitors. One of the best outcome I can see for him is the fact that he goes out on loan at the end of August. Maybe, if he doesn't get sold. Genuinely, I don't see it going through. I don't see him getting sold. The loaning might be the best thing it can happen to him. That is my opinion on this. His contract is valid till 2026, which means that by the end of the next season, if he gets loaned out, he has 1 year left on his contract, which is also not ideal, which means he might go for even more cut price. Although if he proves himself on that loan, we might get some value out of this. Maybe the 30 million could be actually viable. But overall, if we don't sell him now, and we just loan him out, there's a possibility his value might decrease and we might take another loss on another player, which is, to be honest, a shame. because if he didn't get mistreated by Mikel Arteta this summer, this last season, he actually would have gone, I think, for good money. We actually could have sold him. He actually got there actually would be teams going in for him. But the fact that we genuinely, Raya comes in, after 5 games, Raya goes in goal, and pretty much Ramsdale never sees pitch again, and he gets kind of exiled from the starting 11, instantly shows that Arsenal don't trust him, Arteta doesn't want him, and that just isn't a good, well, let's just say, commercial PR for the team that is trying to sell the player. And that is the biggest issue for me at the moment. Not sure what's going to happen with Ramsdale. For me, it looks like it's going to be a loan towards the end part of the window. Genuinely, I don't see anyone buying him. I don't see, unless Saudi comes in. But then again, does he want to move Saudi? Who knows? Genuinely, who the hell knows? Now, according to Code Offside, Arsenal are still interested in signing Wolves keeper Dan Bentley, with talks ongoing despite previously seeing 2 bids rejected. So they rejected a 50 grand bid and 350 or 400 grand bid. It is felt that both clubs could end up agreeing a fee under 1 million for the player. Remains to be seen. Basically, I think this is the deal that's gonna come through if Arsenal sell Aaron Ramsdale. If he goes out on loan, that deal also might happen, but it's all basically up in the air. Fabrizio Romano also has confirmed that Arsenal are prepared to advance in talks for Merino, so by the looks of things, Merino might be coming very soon, especially the fact that Atletico Madrid were interested in Merino and Conor Gallagher, but it looks like the Conor Gallagher deal is picking up some massive momentum for Atletico Madrid, so they are not going for Merino. That's leaving one opposition less for Arsenal. It was rumored that Barcelona want Mikel Merino, but Barcelona are focusing on trying to sign Dani Olmo and Nico Williams at the moment, so they also fall flat and they kind of are getting removed from the race for Mikel Merino. And that only leaves Arsenal. So at the end of the day, Fabrizio Romano, it was 2 days ago, he reported that that Arsenal are prepared to advance in talks with Mikel Merino's camp next week. That is this week. He reported that on on Sunday. So this week anyways. After positive contacts, he's not only name on list but well positioned. Price tag requested by Real Sociedad will be the key. Obviously, he has 1 year left on his contract, and now rumors are that he might be available for 20 to 25 million if we get him for that. I would say that's good business because that is cheap as chips in a way. If we have to pay 40, I'm not sure it would be a good deal. Arteta appreciates him, and as soon as, and this is the key bit here, as soon as Emile Smith-Rowe leaves, Arsenal can proceed. Basically, Emile Smith-Rowe either at the moment or early tomorrow morning will have medicals at Fulham, as reported before, which means that as soon as he passes his medicals, he will be announced as a proper, fully Fulham player, and he will fly to Portugal for the training camp, a pre-season camp, and he will play on Friday for them, which means Emile Smith-Rowe has left the club, which means Arsenal could instantly go into the race for Mikel Merino and instantly proceed with their actions, with bids and all that stuff, talking to the clubs. Basically, it's all a waiting game, and we are waiting on Emile Smith-Rowe to pass his medicals at Fulham at this moment. As you can see, he's arrived in London to medicals this afternoon. So there's a chance that in about few hours he might get announced as a Fulham player, or early tomorrow morning, because he will fly to Portugal. We will have to wait and see. And here is Granit Xhaka, and this is one of the things I have in my title, and this is the big thing. He was interviewed with Bild Bayer 04, and Granit Xhaka was asked some questions, and this is what he had to say. The move from Arsenal to Bayer Leverkusen was not a step back, but rather 2 steps forward. We have to do better than last season now, but the fact is, move from Arsenal wasn't a move step back, but it was 2 steps forward. And that just pretty much shows on what level arguably Arsenal are at the moment. Because there was time when leaving Arsenal was legitimately a step back in your career. Because we were winning, we were playing, we were dominating, and we were, quote unquote, no pun intended, invincible at one point. But now, Granit Xhaka has said that moving away from Arsenal was not a step back, but rather 2 steps forward. And to be honest, you cannot argue that, because Arsenal have done nothing in the 5 years under Mikel Arteta. Basically, because he has done nothing. Let's be real. He has won FA Cup with Emery's team. Then he has spent nearly 700 million and gotten us nowhere. We are where we were when we sacked Arsene Wenger, which basically is where we are at the moment. And the fact is, Granit Xhaka left Arsenal and instantly went invincible in Bundesliga, won 2 out of 3 trophies available. If he won also the Europa League, he would have won a mini treble. Granit Xhaka, as soon as he leaves, wins. And that is the big difference. Those 2 steps forward doesn't mean that the Arsenal are much worse than Bayer Leverkusen. Those 2 steps forward are the 2 cups he won last season. Because Arsenal have won fuck all in the last 4 years. Arteta has had 18 trophies in his tenure to go after, and he has won 1. And that was also with a completely different tactics, completely different team, and a way that legitimately gave Pep Guardiola headache, Chelsea gave headache, and everyone. Now when Arsenal have completely switched tactics, completely switched team, and changed everything, Arsenal can't do shit. They lose in cups in early stages, they go out in every competition, but it's a bigger fish to fry. Bigger fish. There's no bigger fish to fry. Either you win or you lose. Nobody cares who came second in the league, because nobody remembers who came second in the league. Everyone only remembers the winners. And it's not. And let's be real, Olympics are at the moment, right? One of the greatest sprinters in athletics history, Usain Bolt, has broken an incredible amount of world records that haven't been beaten yet. Anyone remembers who came second when Usain Bolt beat these world records and became the Olympic champion and everything, when he won world title and everything? Yes, you can have a random guess at Tyson Gay, Justin Gatlin, Asafa Powell, I think Justin Crawford or something like that. Yes, you can have a wild guess at that. But that would be just a wild guess. It's the same as in Premier League. Man City won the league. Who came second? Ooh, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal, United, Chelsea. You can have a guess. You have 10 guesses, you're probably gonna hit one of those. Obviously. But it's not a coincidence. It's not the first player who instantly leaves Arsenal and wins trophies. Think about it. He's not the first. David Luiz left, instantly won trophies. Bellerin went, instantly won trophies. Who else? Aubameyang left, instantly won trophies. And it goes on and on and on. Sead Kolasinac just won Europa League leaving Arsenal. After leaving Arsenal. Every single player that leaves Arsenal, most of the times, goes and wins trophies. Genuinely. Is that coincidence? Unai Emery got laughed out of Arsenal because he couldn't speak English, he couldn't control the dressing room, whatever you want to believe that crap, right? I don't care. But he went out of Arsenal, he went to Villarreal, bang, wins Europa League. Coincidence? As soon as someone leaves Arsenal, they win something. It's not a coincidence. Genuinely. Exactly. And that is the thing. At the moment, we need to do everything we can in our power to win something. Because Granit Xhaka said it here. Moving away from Arsenal was not a step back, but rather 2 steps forward. Because at Arsenal, he pretty much didn't win anything. He instantly, in the first year, goes to Bundesliga, goes to Bayer Leverkusen. Wins Bundesliga, destroys Bundesliga, goes invincible, laughs at Bayern in their face, wins the cup. Okay, got smashed in Europa League final. But he got to Europa League final. Mind you, he could have done a mini treble. It's different mindsets. Granit Xhaka, arguably, was one of those players that Arsenal at the moment are dying for. He's not the prettiest, and I don't mean the looks, by the way. I mean the game style, play style. He's not the best, not the prettiest, but he gets the job done. Yes, he's frustrating at times, but one thing he has that the whole Arsenal team pretty much doesn't have is an ego and attitude. You can see this ego and attitude sometimes at Ben White, and you can see sometimes it at Gabriel when they're ready to scrap and they're ready to generally give some invisible elbow and just rile someone. Granit Xhaka was one of those players who, if you pissed someone off or you did an ugly tackle, was going to destroy you, go punch you. Genuinely. He was one of those. He was one of those players who reminded me of the Invincible era. Because as soon as something happened to Pires, Vieira, Tony Adams, anyone just flew and genuinely went and pretty much knocked out the one who did it. Instantly. At the moment at Arsenal, something like that happens, they instantly go to the referee, wave their arms around and, give him a yellow, go check VAR, go look, what's for dinner? And all that stuff. They generally do nothing. We don't have this attitude and bad boy players in the team who are ready to do the dark arts, to receive an extra yellow, to receive maybe an extra red card, to defend their team, to defend their honor. We don't have that. Yes, it's say I'm playing for the badge, I'm playing for that. But when it comes to certain situations, they hide like sheep. Like dogs who are scared of fireworks. They genuinely hide, and that is what is pissing me off. And in my opinion, Granit Xhaka was one of those last ones. The last one actually Arsenal had. Genuinely, yes, you could get annoyed that he sometimes had a rash tackle, he got a yellow here or there. Yes, about the red cards. But the last season at Arsenal he had the best season. And he still did the same things he did before. He just had a bit different role that Arteta revamped, and he instantly looked like a different player. He was doing more or less the same things he did before. Arsenal just had a system, and Arteta and an Arsenal team was built in a way that he had a proper spot where we could hide his weaknesses and exploit to our advantage his strengths. And that is the only difference. But he still did the same things. Yes, he told our fans to F off. Probably should have been sacked by then and should never worn captain's armband again. But Arteta gave him a blank slate and he turned the things around. Fair play, although he still hasn't apologized after 7 years after that, by the way. And that is the thing. And okay, back to your comment. Without a striker, we have no hope. And that's the thing. At the moment, Arsenal are 18 days away from Premier League kicking off against Wolves at Emirates. And we still haven't signed anyone besides Calafiori. Rayo was here last year, that doesn't count. Young goalkeepers, Setford, Nygaard, whoever, those go to the youth team, that doesn't count. So basically, in month and a half, in a transfer window, Arsenal have only signed Calafiori. One of the biggest clubs in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and it takes a month and a half to sign a player. And now we are only 18 days from Premier League kicking off. And we need still a midfielder, arguably 2 midfielders. We need a striker, backup for Bukayo Saka, and we need to sign, obviously, at least 3 players now. Not to mention, if once Ramsdale leaves, well, if he leaves, I don't care, loan, sell, whatever, we need to sign a backup goalkeeper. But according to reports, Arsenal have a backup, whether it's Dan Bentley or Beloff or whoever, I don't care. We will have a backup, but the backup will never see the pitch ever. Pretty much ever. It's pretty much a guarantee, let's be real. So, genuinely, Arsenal need to get their shit together, pull the finger out of their ass, especially Edu, I'm looking at you here, and go and sign a midfielder, well, 2 midfielders, a striker, and then go from there. We at least need an extra midfielder and a proper number 9 like Gyökeres. Because I generally am a still strong believer that we can utilize Gabriel Jesus as a right winger. And there is, even though if we cannot sign a winger, it's not the worst thing if we have signed a striker. However, if we sign a winger but don't sign a striker, in my opinion, we are screwed again. That's how small margins these are. Either you sign the right player or you are gonna get it done over once again. And this season is make or break, by the way. I'm already Arteta out, but this is the last straw on any given situation and time. You spend nearly 700 million. You either win now or you fuck off. You have done nothing pretty much here. Yes, you have changed the team. Yeah, you have brought us back where we were before you signed. Pretty much the same thing. Mind you, Emery got us to Europa League final. Yes, we got destroyed, but we got there. Europa League semi-final, where we got done over by freaking Unai Emery. And now in the league, we get done over by Unai Emery every single time. So nothing pretty much has changed. We are looking, in the cups at least, we are playing even worse now. Not to mention the fact that when Arteta won it, we played 3/5 at the back and on counters. On completely different tactics to Pep, to Chelsea. Who was Chelsea manager then? I don't remember. Sarri or whoever was the Chelsea manager at the time. I'm generally blanking on this. I'm very sorry. And we played on counter-attacking football. Now that since Arteta has changed the system, we start to play like Pep from the back. We try horseshoe football, tiki-taka, hoya, 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 and all that bullshit. We're trying to out-Pep Guardiola at his own game, basically. We are trying to be the master at his own game. How is that gonna work ever? Because you just look at the winners of Premier League. Who has won Premier League who plays the same way as Pep? Nobody. Let's be real. Because Conte won it with Chelsea. Counter-attacking football. Just like we won the FA Cup in the first season when Arteta just came in. Klopp won the league with mayhem football. He loves the rock and roll football, basically. Create billions of chances, high press. He had the legs on the players by then. He won the league. He won the Champions League as well for them. Obviously, the players started to age. They lost the legs and they didn't do proper investments to replace them. So here they are where they are at the moment. But the principle stands. Pep has won, I think, like 4 in a row now. They're going for a 5-peat potentially now. They have won, I think, 6 of the last 7 leagues or something like that it was. And only time they have lost was Conte and Klopp. 2 players on completely different styles. So what chances we have to play the same way as Pep and win the league? Yes, we lost 2 seasons ago by 5 points. Yes, we lost last season by 2 points. Yes, that is close. But at the same time, if you think about it, Man City at any given time has winning mentality and they can go unbeaten in bazillion games. Like 20, 30 games in a row. They have no issues with that. Yes, their team is changing. It might not be the same now. But who knows? Window isn't still closed. They need to sign 1 or 2 players to replace KDB. Maybe to replace a winger. And they're done. They're back where they were. They just signed Savio. He's definitely going to ball out in Premier League. There's no argument and shadow of a doubt about that. Everybody knows it. So it's genuinely, it's mind-blowing. And to be honest, yes, it hurts in a way that Granit Xhaka has said that moving away from Bayer Leverkusen was not a step back but 2 steps forward, because that indicates that playing for Bayer Leverkusen, it's much, much better, much more successful than playing for Arsenal. But who can blame him? He's telling the bloody truth. Open your eyes, for frick's sake. It's actually the truth. It's nothing wrong with that. Gyökeres, depends what's gonna happen. I still don't know. Basically, Gyökeres, and here it is. Victor Gyökeres is set to return as Arsenal look bluster their attack. Allegedly, again, we don't know that. Arsenal been keeping on close eye since returning from injury. Only since then. Don't BS, man. Sporting Lisbon have also recently spent 2.5 million to buy back 5% of Victor Gyökeres' sell-on clause from Coventry, down from 15 to 10% to get the most money out of him this summer. So that arguably indicates the fact that Gyökeres actually might be on the move. There is something in the background happening we don't know about. They maybe are preparing for Gyökeres to leave. That could be encouraging. Mind you, I'm clutching at straws here, because I want striker at Arsenal. I don't give a damn we sign Pedro Neto at wing. I much rather we sign Gyökeres and play Jesus at the wing. I don't care. I much rather see a number 9 at Arsenal, because if we don't sign number 9, we are screwed. And despite his 86 million release clause, Sporting Lisbon are now willing to sell him between 50 to 58 million pounds. What's the fucking hold-up then? Sorry for swearing. What is the bloody hold-up then? Go and sign him 50 to 58 million. You were ready to drop that on Pedro Neto, according to reports. and ITKs and all them, man. If that's true, sign Gyökeres instead. I'm getting so pissed off, by the way, talking about this. I'm very sorry. Although I'm very passionate about this, so it is what it is. Emile Smith-Rowe is in the building, medical underway, ahead of completing. Oh, that was 3 hours ago, so he soon will be unveiled. And the last one for today is basically this. Chido Obi-Martin. We all know the youngster, let's be real. Again, Mikel Arteta's masterclass in this instance. Arsenal offered the 16-year-old Chido Obi-Martin 50 grand a week in his professional contract. And he turned us down, he left, he's joining Manchester United, and Manchester United gladly doubled those wages offered by Arsenal to secure the player's signature. So, he's earning 30 grand a week. For a 16-year-old, you're getting 30 grand a week. 30 grand! Can you imagine 30 bloody grand a week as a 16-year-old? You're loading here? Yes, you are. 30 grand a week. That is actually mad. Imagine, Arsenal offered 15 grand, he turns it down, and United doubled those wages. So United offered him a 30 grand a week. So it is always, it's about the money, nothing else, of course. And if you think about it, 30 grand a week, and this will kind of shock you, by the way. Look at this. Look at this, by the way. 30 grand a week. Remember that. 30 grand a week. For a second, I will do this. 30 grand a week. This will be a mad one, by the way. I'm already promising you that one. 30 grand a week, yeah? 30 grand. Apparently, Emile Smith-Rowe is on 40 grand a week. So not much more. Fabio Vieira is 45, 10 grand only more. Karl Hein is on 10 grand a week. And Chido Obi-Martin at 16 is gonna get triple that. Triple that. Triple. Where's Manchester United? Let's check Manchester United. In this instance, how much they are paying their players. Where Chido Obi-Martin fits in this one. Here we go. Here we go. So, Hannibal is on 15 grand a week. Kobe Mainoo is on 20 grand a week apparently. And Chido Obi-Martin is getting 30 grand a week. Huh? Pelistri is on 20. Diallo is on 28.8. So still less than Chido Obi-Martin. Altay Bayindir, the second goalkeeper for United, 35 grand a week. So pretty much on the same wages as Chido Obi-Martin. Imagine. Genuinely imagine. That's actually freaking hell, United, man. Genuinely freaking hell. Are you really that desperate to get him? Or what I'm seeing here? Really that desperate to get Chido Obi-Martin at your club? So you're willing to pay him 30 grand a week? Holy crap. Genuinely. This is mad. Genuinely mad. Arsenal offered 15 grand a week. If I was an Arsenal through and through, I would take it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't give a crap that United offered me double that. I'm not gonna lie. If you are as good as you believe you are, you will earn that and even more back during your career. Let's be real. And his professional contract, when United gladly doubled those wages. Freaking hell, brother. Freaking hell. That's a mad one. Genuinely, that is a mad one. Anyways, anything new about here? Anything new in this regard? I've been live for an hour almost. Raw. Time just flew by. Now, once journalism in United leading the rest striker with insane pace. Nobody cares. It's United. Arsenal monitoring the best in the world. He has great relationship with Arteta. Nobody cares. So nothing. Generally nothing else that we talked about besides that. So, on that note, I think we gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for chilling. Those were the transfer news and my thoughts on them. Let me know down in comments what you think, how you feel about them. If you're watching this as a podcast playback, let me know down in comments below. Take care, smash a like, subscribe, hit that bell, take care, and I see you all tomorrow. You have been fantastic. Have a great evening and enjoy your Wednesday.